Everyone, welcome to Church Brand Guide. This is Michael Persad. Today we're doing a special coronavirus edition of Church Brand Guide just to help people understand how do we do church online. This has kind of moved churches in general to do church differently because we can't meet. We can't meet physically. As the time of this recording, that's what's going on. We're about 2 weeks in, working on the second week of not being able to gather on a weekend. So we've had to adjust as a church, and the church in general has had to adjust. And so I wanted to give some insights on what that has looked like for my church at Vibrant Church in South Florida. We're a church plant. We're about 6 weeks old, and we had to make some adjustments. And what we've done is we put in a lot of research on what is the best way to do this? What is the best way to do church online? And through that, we implemented several things. And we're kind of like the crash test dummy for church online. So that's what this episode's all about. Pastor Brandon's on here with me, and we're just having a debrief of the weekend. That's really what this conversation is. I just recorded it so that we can play it back for you guys. So we took a look at what worked well. We used YouTube, we used Facebook, we also used Church Online, all of it to go live. And we thought, hey, listen, we're going to try them all, and then we're going to see which one works best. We also tried some things like creating a page on our website. We changed the homepage to where it is a specific church online homepage. So we're going to discuss some of that and also some strategies moving forward of how do we get more engagement? How do we get those? It's social distancing that's going on right now, but how do we help people to fellowship still in this season where there's weeks potentially of just not being able to come together? And people need it, like we're designed for it. So how do we do that as a church, do it safely? And we just discussed some of those options too as well. So I think you'll gain a lot out of this episode of Church Brand Guide. This is where I want to serve you as a virtual communications director. So I ultimately help you to become a brand expert for your church. So you can turn strangers into contributors and steward your resources well. I want to help you say yes to the right thing. So today is a good idea of that. There's a bunch of ideas of how to do church online. I want to help you figure out what some of those ideas are and maybe help you figure out what the best yes is for you as you look at church online. Ultimately, the goal is to help you get more guests showing up, more life change taking place as a result of that, and more people contributing to your vision. So we had a good result. Just sharing it really quick at the top. We had over 1,000 people engage. Again, we're a church plant, 7 months old. And we typically have about 170 or so on a weekend. We had over 1,000 engaging on I say engaging, but 1,000 people viewing the church online experience this past weekend. And we had over 350 engaged, as in like they made comments. So pretty amazing results for one weekend. So with this service I want to provide for you, basically I want to help you get some brand clarity, and there's 4 areas to get clear about who you are, to create the experience based on our clarity, to attract people, and number 4, to get buy-in. That's really what it means to get brand clarity. And I also have a membership area that you can check out as well if you want to go deeper into this. I record all these sessions and make them available in a library where you're able to access all these things and be able to get more content about getting clear, creating the experience, attracting people, and getting buy-in. The membership is not about marketing. It's not a church marketing resource. It's a church brand building resource. How do we create a brand? That's something that is, it makes the vision attractive. How do we take your vision and make it clear so that people are attracted to it and they want to contribute to it? So it's not marketing where you're just trying to reach a lot of people. It's about brand building where you're trying to get people to contribute to the vision that God has given to you. Part of it is marketing, so we do touch on that. But mainly what I want to help you do is do what the big companies are doing. The Apple Computers, the Chick-fil-A's, that cause a whole lot of people to come faithfully and buy their products. I want to help you do that as a church to where people come faithfully and contribute to the vision that God has given you. So check out that membership. It's really inexpensive, made it so that any church of any size can afford it and get the training that's in it. So check that out. For right now, though, let's jump into a conversation with Pastor Brandon as we talk about doing church online during this coronavirus period.
We ran all 3 platforms this weekend just as backup systems. Like, hey, if one doesn't fail, we can at least send that entire audience somewhere else. And here's what we experienced. Church online platform completely crashed, which meant our service ran, but we couldn't engage with anybody because it wouldn't let us log in. But they replied back saying, hey, we're going to have it ready for the weekend for all the volume. We feel very confident the platform will work great. It has the greatest interface of communication because there are direct links to giving, to groups, to whatever you want, like your church website, info, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, fill in the blank. You can do up to 5 different posts up to there. And you can take a recorded video from Vimeo or YouTube and embed it to it for all of your service times and show the same video 3 times, but no one knows it's not live. Now, if you have the equipment, the embedding coders to actually do a live service, it will allow you to embed that video feed as well. Facebook has the greatest engagement because it's the easiest one to share. It pops at the top of people's feed when they're just scrolling through. And I mean, this weekend alone, we had 350 comments during the live premiere event. And the great thing about a premiere is you can upload a video to YouTube ahead of time, and then they play the video that's already embedded in their servers, and people are watching it live. Another thing that some churches have been doing with Facebook, though, is they actually upload the video at like 5 a.m. and then create a watch party around it. So this last weekend on Facebook, midway through the service, it jumped back 5 minutes and made you watch 5 minutes of it. Well, you can't scrum forward to get to where you left off. It's just going to play that 5 minutes through again. Now, if the video had already been uploaded and I had created a watch party, that watch party could have played that same video without this scrumming issues because the video has actually been embedded to our Facebook page. Where if you are doing a premiere video, it's playing it live, but it's playing it and loading it to your page during, so they can't scrum. However, YouTube is designed for televisions, and it's the easiest one to put on the screen. So if your value is, hey, we want the screen as big as possible in the room because that's our culture, which I think is the right answer, I think it's all about putting it on the screen and engaging in YouTube, because YouTube has comments and then it has a chat. So if you premiere a video, you can chat in the video and embed your different links as well. You just have to have someone that keeps adding the links. Now, where it gets hard is if it's a digital experience and you want people to click a button, well, you don't click a button on a TV. So now they have to go back to their phone or back to their computer to engage. So it all comes down to what you value. If you value online traffic through your website, church online is the way to go. If you value engagement of like, how many people can we put this video in front of and how many people can we get to comment and reply to and create energy around an event, Facebook is the way to go. If it's about the experience in the living room and having many people watch the same screen, YouTube by far is the best way to go.
Interesting. That's a really good breakdown. So this next weekend, what do you want to do? Like, are you going to do both or all 3?
I'm going to set up all 3 because I don't know what's going to break this weekend. But I think the right answer for me is to point everyone to YouTube and create our announcements through a YouTube experience.
Okay.
And
So
the
you're
reason
saying...
why... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, so the announcements, like you're saying, like you can't just click on something on your TV. So you're just going to, the announcement itself that's on the video would just be more what, direct to give people next steps?
Now, what we can do, though, is I've been teaching from a TV, which makes a video recording feel very live. And if you're just filming from your living room, you can do the same thing with your TV. Plug your computer into the television, and you can record. And it feels more live than having something come at the bottom of your feet like a lower third in a video. It just feels like it's a live event and you're watching someone live inside of your room. And we could take that same TV principle and apply it to the capture of our announcements.
Oh, yeah.
And do our text and church model of, hey, sitting on the ground, you can text the number behind me, text the word vibrant, and that's our digital connection card. And you can text to give, and so we go through a texting platform, which I think will be the answer for us this weekend, is utilizing a television in the room.
Gotcha. So last week we recorded worship, then we recorded the message, and then we recorded the announcements. Is that the right play again for this week, or should we change it up?
I think it's a change up. I think it's about engagement. So I think the right answer for us is to create what I'm going to call Inside Edition, because everyone's stuck inside. It's the Inside Edition of like a pre-service, post-service interaction. Also pre-recorded, but make it fun and engaging, trying to get people to have their televisions on before the service begins so people are there from the beginning. I think on the front end, it needs to be very engaging and fun for however long this lasts and we can't meet. Hey, come to the service a little bit early. The same way we want people in church to come a little bit early so they get experience the entire thing. Give them a reason to experience the entire thing. So I've got some ideas of what that might look like between trivia or ask the pastor or do some funny interview style things to make it just really engaging. I think engagement is the key. During the service, attention spans are shorter when you don't have their full attention in a room. So right now I'm asking the question, do we go from 3 songs to 2 songs? Because if you're an unchurched person or a new believer, the person that's in the living room that's going to have their hands up, well, they already did that on Thursday because they watched Elevation and they watched Bethel. But for the person that's really my target audience to watch this service, that's not what they do. So I am wondering if it's just 2 songs, really well done, still worship, still presence of God oriented, but I know that their attention span, because they're not in the room, is shorter, shortening the worship, the message, make it a little bit tighter, a little bit stickier, but really making it about the engagement pre and post service afterwards.
So you're thinking of making the entire service a little bit shorter. Like you're about an hour, under an hour, right, with worship and everything last week?
We had a 5-minute countdown that put us at like 59 minutes. So we also had an announcement part of the end of the service that was like hosting towards the end. That was also about another 3 minutes. So we were about a 51-minute service between 3 songs, message, and an altar call this last Sunday. And I think I need to get shorter. I think I need to go from like 51 to 45.
Okay, so we were watching it this week, and I was trying to pay attention to the flow and how it went. So we did 3 songs, like you said. It didn't feel too long. Like, I don't know if it was just, it was good worship or whatever. It didn't feel too long in the room. But you broke it up too. Like you had like between song 1 and 2, I think you came up and kind of said something, or you and Jonna did. I forgot if you came up again between song 2 and 3.
I did. So I felt like I came up too much. I came up 3 times during worship. After the first song, after the second song, and then I came up again and closed it out. And I don't want it to feel like the Brandon show. So I think I come up once if there's 3 songs, and I don't come up at all if there's just 2 songs.
Okay, I gotcha. I did think the prayer, I forgot exactly what it was, but it was really cool. Like you did a prayer thing and shared some, praise and some other things. That seemed very engaging, and praying for the country as well, with everything going on. It seemed very like in the moment, it felt right.
Yeah. But there's actually a prayer movement that's kind of beginning right now. It's called 714. All the ARC pastors recently got it. And they're just trying to get as many churches as possible praying. 2 Chronicles 7:14, which is, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, seek my face, I'll heal their lands. So they're trying to mobilize the capital C World Church to be praying this together at the same time. So I do want to incorporate that into the service. And I do think that is at the end of the last song. And I do think that needs to be me and my wife, or me or my wife. I think churches want to know who mom and dad are.
Yeah. I did think it was nice too, like, so maybe, I don't think I'm being biased, but at the end of it, I was on the announcement reel along with Zeph, one of the other guys from the church. So like you said, like having a different face, kind of making some announcements, like
Yeah.
that felt good.
Yeah, so I think the same two people that host pre-service in our Inside Edition will be the same two people that host at the end of the service. And I think it's all at pre-service, it's all about engagement, letting people know what's going on, making it fun, but really trying to get them before the service. I think after the service, you're really pointing to, hey, content midweek help you. And hey, next week we're going to do this again. Make sure you join us for Inside Edition. If you missed it, it is the most fun part of the service. So I want to encourage you to join us at 10:15, 15 minutes before the service for Inside Edition.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Some personality. A brand, having personality, I think is really, people like that. Like it's not just a rigid thing that sounds great. So we also had a page right now. We have a page that's up. That's just like, what's your feedback on that? Have you seen any? Basically, it just has like the video replay from last week. There's a countdown for next week. There's some kids ministry videos on there that people can engage with. Towards the bottom is a prayer request, and I think a Devo. Like you're doing a Devo, so you can get access to the
daily devotional, and I think a link maybe to Right Now Media. I think a couple additions would be pointing people to our app. Here's what I'm learning right now. People are bored. People are really bored. Like life has just forced them to slow down. And I think by the end of this week, everyone's going to be TV'd out. So what are they going to engage in right now that isn't just around watching a television show or another movie? So I think the more that we can equip people to grow in relationship with God and grow in relationship as a family. So I already know our kids team is talking about how do we provide some resources to do at home while kids have school? Because, I mean, we all know, like when kids get bored, they get in trouble. And it's trying to keep them going and moving. And you can't have Disney Plus on all day long because that's not helpful either. So I think it's how do we resource families to feel, hey, our church sees you and we know what you're going through and we're just here to help you. And when all of this is over, I think whichever church has answered that question the best are going to be the churches that people choose to go to.
That's good. So I do want to ask like some tweaks, like again, just practically with Vibrant and all the feedback that we have. I know you're really good at just evaluating. So we talked about a few tweaks for sure. Like, last week we ended up recording on a Thursday. I forgot what the schedule was. We recorded twice. I think it was like a Tuesday night. We recorded worship. Then a Thursday night
we recorded worship ahead of time was because our worship leader was leaving town on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So this week, again, just very practically, like we're recording 2 weeks, right? Worship for 2 weeks, sermon for 2 weeks. We have a great partnership where Coastal Community Church is giving us the facility and recording for us. So, I mean, blessing us, in a big way. So we're recording 2 weeks. And then Brandon, you actually edited those recordings together last week and then posted them. And it wasn't a hard edit. Like it was really good, well recorded stuff. We just have to put a transition between them.
I edited them in iMovie. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Like it's literally a free app that is so basic for video editing. I literally just uploaded the 3 videos. It gives you different transition options. I literally just threw the transitions in between the different videos and then pressed play. And then I exported them.
Wow. So what's the plan this week? Same playbook, run it again and just do a little bit better?
Yeah, pretty much. I think we just need to go simpler. I think it needs to look good because it is video driven and we live in a video culture. But I think it needs to be really simple. So like one of the tweaks is we did a 2 video camera for the announcements at the end of the service. I think we just go to 1 this week. It was just kind of awkward bouncing back and forth. And I don't think that 2 added value to it. I actually think it took away from it because we were trying to match which camera was on a certain person. I just like, hey, here's your camera. Let's just make this really simple. And let's like just think engagement. Think about the guy on the other side of the screen. How would you say it to him if he was in the room?
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And then worship, less transition between songs, and just going from one song to the next. One little tip that we got was we intentionally didn't use multi-tracks this week, though we could have and had the technology to do it. We knew that there was a chance that Facebook or YouTube would not be aware of the copyright license that we actually do have and would take down those videos, which would create a horrible service experience because the video is gone. So we intentionally just did an acoustic set, but then we tuned the video after we had recorded it, very basically, just an auto tune.
Okay. Yeah, good tip. So
And most leaders know how to use the software to tune a recording after a production is done.
So with the engagement, we have a devotion. Honestly, we talked about it last Tuesday. So we're supposed to be rolling out some devotions. We talked about several people doing it. I'm actually one of the people. So what does that look like? Are we actually, when do I need to record mine? Like, what does that look like?
So we use a platform called Basecamp. And in Basecamp, I can share a Google Doc. And the Google Doc has a running schedule of who's up and when. And we're just asking the videos get done 2 days in advance, because one great thing about YouTube is you can upload a video and then schedule it. So right now the schedule is set to go at 5 a.m., which will make it so it loads into our app appropriately at the right time.
Okay, I'm actually looking at Basecamp right now. Which board is that in? I'm just I want to make sure I get
a project called Devotionals.
Devotions. Okay, awesome, awesome. So we're gonna see. I see it. So we're gonna basically go ahead and do that this week. Get those recorded, release them, and then measure the engagement. We're trying to just basically keep people engaged. Like you said, people are getting bored. We also have Right Now Media, which is a resource that has a whole bunch of like devotionals and what is Right Now Media? What is that? Like how can people use it?
So Right Now Media is a church subscription to give access to Christian videos. And these videos are more devotionals, with the exception of kids, of just really great engagement. So everything from Francis Chan to Kingdom Kids to, anyways, some 20,000 videos. It's kind of like the devotional Netflix of the internet. And as a church, we pay a subscription to that.
Gotcha. So our playbook, basically to engage with people, is the live experience on Sunday, devotionals that are done with various people in our church, people that I can communicate and put those together. It's probably 4 people or so that we're rotating through. And then I think, Brandon, you're just giving a guideline of what the devotional needs to be about. And then also, Right Now Media is something that people can engage with on their own. It's just access. It's kind of a feature that we're providing as just being part of the church. And then basically that's it, right? And then we engage the next weekend.
Yeah, so my big things right now, number one is care, pastoral care. People are afraid. People don't know what's going to happen in their job. People are already losing their jobs. People are being reduced in their hours. They don't know if there's going to be a government stimulus coming. And even if there is, like, if you don't have a job, the stimulus covers you for a month, but then what? I think the church has to be the one voice that's bringing peace of, hey, don't believe all the hysteria. We serve a good God who knew that this was going to come, and he's got this. He's got our nation. He's got our churches. He's got our people, and it's going to be all right. And I think that needs to be the primary voice in the midst of this. In fact, even as I'm looking across the Capital C Church and watching how other churches are doing church online, I'm listening to other messages, and that's really been the voice of like, hey, it's going to be all right. Hey, walk in peace, walk in hope, knowing that God's got you. So it's been great. I've also loved to see the Capital C Church just working together. Like, barriers that used to exist between denominations and belief systems and doctrinal stances have just gone out the window. Not that they aren't important, but they're not what's going to define our relationship. You might believe some things different than me, but that doesn't mean we can't be on the same team. And that's been great.
That was really cool. Like I got to see that firsthand. Thursday we were recording at Coastal Community Church, and so they put up their church to have 3 other pastors record services for the weekend. So it was really cool. Like I was just standing there talking to someone, all of a sudden I looked over and it was you and then like 2 other pastors kind of just hanging out. And so I actually took a picture. I need to send it to you. I took a picture of it. I just think it was a cool moment. It's like, oh, look at this. All these like, worship people were all together, media people, these pastors were together, and we're getting ready to record back to back services. It was really cool just to know that, in the midst of all this craziness, like, God's doing something cool.
Yep. I know Vice President Mike Pence got on a phone call with like 500 of the biggest churches in America by state, meaning not all of them were from California or Florida. Not that Florida has a lot of big churches. Not all of them were from California where all the big churches lie. But different pastors from around the country got on a phone call with him. And basically he said this: we want to allow churches to meet as soon as possible. Right now it isn't safe, but people need faith right now. And we need our churches and our pastors preaching hope because the media is preaching everything else. And we need hysteria to go down and hope to go up. And he just said if there's ever a moment in American history for the church to shine and be the church, it's right now. So I'm just grateful that, and this is not a Republican statement or a Democratic statement, I'm just grateful for the fact that we do live in a country that is what just happened this last week.
Yeah. So what do you think with Vibrant is going to stick after this? Like after we get back to live services?
It's a great question. I think it depends on where the churches are in the season of life. So for us, we're a church plant, which means I'm trying to build something in a room. I'm trying to build a community of people. So I think we're going to slow down digitally as fast as possible because we're trying to build something in the room. I think for other churches that are a little bit older and have a stronger base, I think there are some great opportunities to think through how do we digitally connect with people and extend our reach. But I think you have to know what God's called you to do. Like Elevation Church, they could probably have more people come into the room and if they didn't provide their online experience, but they have like almost a million views a week of their services and their messages. And it's literally in every nation on the world. And I think that's their assignment. I think for Vibrant, we're a smaller church plant. That's not our assignment, at least right now. So right now it's like, hey, how do I be a blessing in my city and find ways for our church size to make an impact in people's lives? And I think I have to ask the question, hey, why would someone choose Vibrant over just church online? Because I can't produce an experience like Elevation Church. But what Elevation Church can't do is pastor those people and care for those people and create environments for friendships to form. You create environments for their kids to be loved on and have another adult that speaks into their lives and their families. So I think for me, I have to be thinking, hey, as soon as this is over, and I hope it's over fast, let's get back to like getting people in a room, getting people in connect groups, and creating moments for people with God and with other believers.
Man, I just feel like after this is over, like whenever that is, people are going to be craving that. Like, I already feel it. It's like, man, I just want to go hang out. I think people are going to be craving that. And, man, the church is going to be in a really good place to provide it. Because that's what we do. Like, that's what the church is. So, yeah, thanks for some insights on that. So one other insight, and you can kind of do whatever you want to, but financially, like what did that look like? Were you able to get people giving online? What did that look like? Or was it down?
So our giving was on the lower end of the Sunday morning range. In South Florida, there's a lot of people who give cash. Like cash is still king down here. It's not card. So like all of our cash giving wasn't present. and had you added our cash average, we would have been pretty similar. But we'll see how things go in the coming weeks. I anticipate giving going down. However, expenses are going down as well. So one of the few advantages of being a church planner is I don't have rent to pay in April if we don't meet, which means all the Sunday morning expenses, which for us right now is almost half, they won't happen next month. I'll have some new additional expenses with creating some digital content and some subscriptions that I'll use for a period of time. But it won't come close to how much we spend on making Sundays happen between equipment, rent, fill in the blank.
Oh man, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Man, it makes me think I should ask for some nice new equipment right now. No, it's just
If it stays up, we can have the conversation. If it doesn't stay up, we can have that conversation. Like, actually, Michael, you and Melissa should pray about maybe the Lord's calling you to go above and beyond the tithe.
yeah, right. Yeah, that could be a very real conversation. I could see, depending on how things play out. That's funny.
No, we'll
Yeah,
be fine. I truly believe this isn't false hope, but like God has Vibrant. This was his gig. Before I knew that Vibrant was going to be a thing, he did. And he knew this was going to happen in my first year. And we're going to be all right. And God's going to provide, and he's going to make a way. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have one heck of a story to tell about my first year as a church plant, between week 3 being a hurricane that knocked us out, and 7 months in, we had the coronavirus that knocked us out for weeks of having church, all in my first year. And every church planter statistic tells you if that happens in your first year, you won't make it. But I think God's going to make it for us. And I think we're just going to point to a miracle of like, I don't know how smart we were. I just think God provided in miraculous ways. And look what happened.
I want to say thank you to Pastor Brandon for coming on and sharing all those insights. It's amazing just the way he thinks. Very strategic in his approach, but as you can tell, very very prayerful about everything. He's researched so much. He calls up different churches, part of the ARC network of churches, so he has access to a lot of different resources. So whenever he's sharing a lot of these things, it's not just because it's an idea he came up with. Mostly it's ideas that other people have tried, and he's just applying it. And because we know who we are as a brand, we're able to say yes to the right things. And we try some things and see what kind of results we get, but then we stick to the things that work the best for us. So I want to encourage you with that. Try a lot of things, learn a lot of things. Be clear about your brand so that you're able to choose the right things for you. So this conversation was just designed to do that. Just give you some insights on some things that are working for us, and give you some data maybe to think about for you. So thanks for joining us. Also want to mention one last time about the membership that we have for Church Brand Guide. This might be a great time for you to jump into that. It is a paid membership, but it gives you access to a library of all the resources. You could cancel at any time. So if you want to jump in there, maybe right now is kind of a downtime for you with the church. Maybe not. Might be the opposite, but maybe it is. Might be a great time for you to jump in, get some great insights. There's free downloads to help you implement what we're talking about. It's not just information, but it's implementation for your church and your specific needs of your church. So that's my heart behind the resources, to not only give you information, but help you apply it so that it works for you. It starts to serve you as a tool to attract more people. And ultimately, because you have a great brand and great brand clarity, that vision becomes attractive to where people want to contribute. So it's not just about getting people to show up, but branding is really about getting people on board with the vision, to give their finances, to give their time and their energy in serving the church, because they really believe in the vision that God has given you. So check out the Church Brand Guide resource at churchbrandguide.com. Check out Vibrant Church's website. We just recently changed that over to where it is more live experience friendly. So the homepage has been switched over. You could check that out at yourvibrantchurch.com. Got the two website addresses mixed up in my head. So yourvibrantchurch.com is the address right now during this period of the coronavirus. We have the homepage kind of switched over to where you can check that out if you want to. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. This is Michael Persad with Church Brand Guide, and I'll see you next time.